What's going on, everybody? Back at it again, finally, with another video. This month has been pretty crazy with basketball, with lockdown, and some other stuff that we're going to be talking about later on. But we're finally back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Aryan. I'm a university basketball player, full-time student, and I have a passion for creating things. So for the past 2 weeks, since there was some outbreaks at my school and the pandemic, I've had to isolate for 14 days. And since Ontario's in a full lockdown, full stay-at-home order, it's pretty safe to say that things are kind of crazy right now. So with me having to isolate for the last 14 days, I basically had no interaction. I've had to stay in my room and I couldn't really go anywhere aside from the bathroom. Now, me being a social person, not interacting with anybody, not being able to play basketball, not being able to step outside of my confined space, not even being able to see my dog was a pretty big deal for me. Now, I'm not a very overly dramatic person, but I will say that this isolation has taken a toll on me personally. And for me, that was in the form of motivation, especially for school. I found myself not being inclined to really do work, and right now is actually in exam season, so now is the worst possible time for me to be feeling like this. So this video is going to be about 5 things that I've kind of figured out and tried out in the past couple days, the past couple weeks, that have helped me re-motivate myself, kind of get myself back in the groove, that I think if I share with you, it's going to be beneficial. So let's get started. Something quickly to note here is that these 5 things that I'm going to be talking about can be applied for pretty much anything. For me, it's going to be about schoolwork and getting homework and exam work done, but for example, it could be about working out, it could be about starting good habits, really anything that you want it to be, that you're not so much starting because you lack the motivation or just the self-discipline to get it started. Okay, so the first thing that I found was helpful for me to start getting motivated was to clean up my workspace. So when you're surrounded by a mess and in a messy environment, your mood reflects that. You know, when you wake up and you're in your bummy clothes and you kind of just stay in bed all day, you don't really change into anything, and you just kind of feel lazy, lethargic the whole day. That's kind of the same thing that I'm trying to say with rearranging your workspace. So I find it helpful to reorganize my room or my workspace to create an environment that's conducive to studying or to doing work. When I look at my desk, I want to feel inclined to get things done and not just get in bed and watch Netflix. So the next thing that I learned was during the time that I was isolating, I would usually get up and right away I'd immediately reach for my phone and I started scrolling through Instagram, I started scrolling through TikTok, and that was so much time just wasted. And when you start this way and you start your day lazy and lethargic, it kind of sets up the rest of your day to be the same way. Whereas if you get up and you take control of your day and you start doing something right away, you're in much more control and you have a much more higher chance of staying motivated throughout the day because you're not wasting time on something that you shouldn't be doing. You don't have to start your work right away or work out or do anything crazy, but just simply getting out of bed and not wasting time on your phone is enough to spark a sense of satisfaction and control. This brings me to my next point, which is to not try to rearrange or commit fully to a completely different schedule right away, because that's a recipe for disaster. Same ways you can't expect yourself to be ripped after one workout is the same concept that you can't expect your whole life or habits to change after trying to plan one day in advance. It just doesn't work like that. So I found for me that when I was getting back in the swing of things, it took me a while to really get my rhythm going and to start implementing those changes that I wanted to. It wasn't just a one-day process, it was more so over a week of time. So what I did was I would set some daily goals, but nothing too crazy. So these goals should be challenging enough to make you want to complete them so that you get a sense of satisfaction when they're done, but not too challenging that when you try to complete it, it's overwhelming and then you just go back into not really wanting to start anyways. So the next thing that helped me out a lot to actually get real work done, because I would wake up and let's say I had an 80-page reading for one of my classes. That's not the most entertaining thing, and that's not something that somebody wakes up and just say, oh yeah, I want to do it. So I found what helped me was to set a timer to start just for 5 minutes. During these 5 minutes, I would start by putting my phone away and just doing work for 5 minutes. The work itself was not necessarily hard or challenging, it was really boring. So starting it was always a problem. I knew that it would take me a long time to get through what I needed to do, so starting was always a chore. And once I started for those 5 minutes, it really helped me get into a rhythm and build up some momentum so that the chore of starting was now eliminated. Now all I have to do is just maintain that. And if I already started, now I'm gonna want to complete what I started. And my last point kind of ties in with starting. And it's gonna sound weird, but hear me out. So next time you're studying and it's for a long period of time, take your iPhone out, turn on to time-lapse mode and set it somewhere where you can record yourself and just start recording a time-lapse of you studying or doing work or whatever you want to do. Now, this has two main benefits. The first one being that since your phone is away from you recording, you can't use it and get distracted. And if that's a problem for you, I really suggest this because now your phone is completely in a different environment recording yourself, and it eliminates you reaching for it and stopping your actual work. Now the other benefit is because of the nature of a time lapse, you really have to spend quite a bit of time doing work to actually make this video make sense and it long enough for you to actually see something. So this kind of gives you an extrinsic form of motivation to keep going for an extended period of time. And if consistency in a long stretch is a problem for you, like it is for me with some of these boring readings, I found it helpful because now I have something that I can watch. And it's actually really satisfying to look at the time lapse after you're done and kind of look at you doing work and staying true to that for as long as you needed to do. So that's gonna do it for me in this video. As I said, this month has been crazy with school, isolation, exams, all that crazy stuff. And if you're in Ontario, or really anywhere, I hope you're staying safe and doing well. And I hope this video provided a couple useful tips on how to stay motivated. I'm Aryan, and like always, if you could take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel, that would mean a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.